The world is about to turn its attention to the 2026 World Cup. It's a tournament with more matches than ever before, played across 3 countries. It's already breaking records, but it's also swirling in controversy. We'll dive into that, and we'll also look at how the 16 host stadiums were upgraded for the tournament. From SoFi Stadium's $5.5 billion price tag to the historic Estadio Azteca hosting for the 3rd time. Hey, I'm Luis, and as someone who started playing football at 3 years old, this video is basically the perfect combination for me. So let's dive right in. The World Cup reigns as the most watched sporting event on the planet, with more than 5 billion watching at some part of the tournament. And this is a World Cup unlike any other. The competition itself is bigger than ever, hosting 48 teams instead of 32. 104 matches spanning 5.5 weeks will make this the longest cup in history. And the expansion of the setting is even more extreme. For the first time, 3 different nations will host: the United States, Canada and Mexico. The venues span 16 different cities, and unlike some previous World Cups, all the stadiums are already built. Many of them had to be modified, as they are now hosting a sport they weren't built for. For starters, most of these stadiums are installing a temporary grass pitch to replace their normal artificial turf, so I won't even mention that each time. Another change most of the stadiums face is their names. FIFA doesn't allow corporate branding of stadium names, so nearly all of them will be temporarily renamed for their city or region, just for the run of the cup. Alright, let's take a look at the stadiums by region, starting in the west and moving east. We start with a banger. This is the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. It's one of the crown jewels of sports in the US today, or even in the world. It's the most expensive stadium ever built, with costs totaling $5.5 billion. New technology helped drive the price to new highs. The dual-sided video board features 4K in resolution, stretches 110 meters and weighs nearly 1,000 tons. Another massive expense for the SoFi is its canopy. It covers nearly 93,000 square meters, the entirety of the stadium, with a translucent material called ETFE. That's a kind of plastic that's used as a roofing material instead of glass. It's translucent and incredibly strong, ideal for spanning large areas without much structural support. It's used in a lot of stadiums, but at SoFi they use over 300 separate panels, many of which can be opened to provide ventilation. Those panels are also embedded with LEDs that allow SoFi to turn its roof into a giant screen. You can see the display as you fly into LAX airport. This canopy keeps out rain and cold, but the stadium remains technically open air. That's ideal for Los Angeles weather, but it actually was a strike against the stadium for the World Cup. In July 2025, FIFA announced it would prioritize air-conditioned covered stadiums for the Cup's daytime matches. In spite of SoFi's roof, it won the chance to host 8 matches, including the US team's opener. But it failed to win the grand prize it wanted, hosting the final. In order to host the World Cup, SoFi faced a challenge. It needed to convert its pitch from American football's 48.8 meter wide field to FIFA's 68 meter wide pitch. It's achieving this by losing the concrete risers near the corners and replacing those with bleachers that can be rolled away to make space. Now, looking north, let's check on one of the Cup's 2 Canadian venues. BC Place in Vancouver is an older stadium built right in the downtown at the start of the 1980s. It went through a massive retrofit back in 2011, installing a retractable roof to replace the inflatable one it had used since its opening in 1983. That renovation cost $435 million and made BC Stadium the world's largest cable-supported retractable roof structure back then. Yeah, that was a long one. Although the stadium hosted the Women's World Cup in 2015, that renovation wasn't enough. For 2026, FIFA called for further renovations. This time, they're renovating washrooms, locker rooms and elevators and adding more VIP facilities. These renovations are expected to cost around $130 million. Nearby, just south of the border, let's look at Lumen Field in Seattle. Fun fact, the steel roof traps crowd noise and makes this one of the loudest stadiums in the world. And this was done intentionally. The Seattle Seahawks team owner sought to maximize crowd noise while keeping an open-air structure. The volume once registered a Guinness World Record, reaching more than 137 decibels during an American football game. They later lost that record to another stadium on this list, but who knows, maybe a couple of goals at a World Cup match will set a new record. Back down to California, Levi's Stadium rounds out the West Coast venue list. This venue in the heart of the Silicon Valley has some pretty unusual features. It has a 2,500 square meter green roof that also partly works as a farm with 40 different crops. That's something I haven't seen before. On top of that, the venue holds almost 1,200 solar panels and uses 85% recycled water. In preparation for the World Cup and the 2026 Super Bowl, it got a $200 million upgrade that mainly consisted of upgrading video boards and luxury suites. Now, before we start to look east, let's talk about the logistics of this World Cup. 3 countries, 4 time zones, 104 matches. It's the most complex World Cup ever attempted. The only word that can appropriately describe the scale here is transcontinental. The distance between Vancouver and Miami stadiums is about 4,500 kilometers. It requires more teams traveling, more fans crossing borders, and more media infrastructure to coordinate. This year's Cup will have more than 5 million fans, both domestic and international, traveling to get to a match. And their travel plans will look completely different than at the last World Cup, Qatar 2022. There, fans could visit multiple stadiums in a single day. Now, that would require more detailed travel planning. On top of that, the US transportation system is built more around cars, with limited public transit to the stadiums. Most of the US stadiums are far from downtown. 7 of the 11 US stadiums do have access to a rail line, but some of those are more than a 10-minute walk away. FIFA has talked a big game about sustainability in recent years. Their goal is to reach net zero by 2040. But to be honest, the big picture for this cup does not look eco-friendly. I mean, they have 14 years left, but this will become a pretty hard challenge. Alright, we'll take a look at the venues in the central region in a second. When working on these videos, a big part of the process is finding the right visuals and sounds. And Storyblocks is a huge help here. Storyblocks offers a big library of footage, music, sound effects and templates. All created by real filmmakers and artists. I just checked my subscription history, and I've been subscribed since 2020, so for over 5 years now. What I like most is that you can download as much as you want from their library with over 7 million assets. So while editing, you can try many different clips, swap things around and just see what works best. And everything is included in a single subscription. Storyblocks also saves a lot of time, and you can even access everything directly inside Premiere Pro and After Effects with their plugin. They say creators save around 3.5 hours a week on average, and that honestly makes sense. So if you want to start making videos or elevate your editing, head to storyblocks.com/megabuilds. They're also offering a limited time deal for you guys, only available through our link. Thanks again to Storyblocks for supporting the channel, and now let's look at the 6 venues in the central region. First off is AT&T Stadium just outside of Dallas, Texas. It's home to the Dallas Cowboys, a team known for embracing sports as a spectacle. Their $1.15 billion stadium first opened in 2009. It features a retractable roof and a 49-meter long HD video board hanging from the ceiling. That was the largest HD TV screen in the world at the time. It's so large that punts sometimes hit it during American football games. Well, that won't be a problem during the World Cup. Nearby in Houston, NRG Stadium was American football's first retractable roof stadium, built in 2002 for $352 million. It uses 2 massive steel panels to slide into place on rails, and theoretically, those could open or close in a couple of minutes. Theoretically, because the roof is almost never retracted, or at least until now. NRG is getting a $55 million upgrade to be ready for the Cup. That covers new video boards and improvements to ensure the roof is fully functional for the summer. Further north in Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium is the 2nd oldest venue in this year's Cup, clocking in at 54 years old. This stadium actually holds the current Guinness World Record for loudest stadium cheer, reaching 142.2 decibels at a game in 2014. Now, they're pulling out 3,000 seats from the north sideline to make space for a regular football pitch. Similar to the change at SoFi, it involves pulling out concrete seating and replacing it with retractable bleachers. They'll also level the pitch, as the field has always featured a so-called crown. a slight elevation at the center that helps with drainage. Still in the Cup's central region are 3 big stadiums in Mexico. The highlight is Mexico City's Estadio Azteca. This stadium makes history as the first to ever host 3 World Cups: 1970, 1986 and now 2026. And along the way it has seen some of the most famous moments in World Cup history, like Diego Maradona's Hand of God or Goal of the Century in 1986, or Pelé's 1970 header that led to victory over Italy. I'll link a legendary video right here. Notably, the elevation, 2,200 meters above sea level, became a serious hardship for visiting players. The thin air affects stamina and also means that balls fly faster and farther than you're used to. I didn't really believe this at first, but the altitude can actually make a big difference on long shots and free kicks, and it could give Mexico a home field advantage in their opening match against South Africa. The newest renovations cost around $80 million. They include a hybrid pitch that allows the field to withstand intensive use and still be FIFA qualified. Hybrid basically means it includes both natural and artificial grass. Around 5% artificial grass leaves are stitched into the natural grass to add durability to the field. It's the standard in Premier League football, and now it's arriving in Mexico. The renovation also involves adding new seating in the upper tiers, as well as new lighting and video systems. To honor its history, Estadio Azteca will host the opening match on June 11. Northwest in Guadalajara, Estadio Akron is designed like a dormant volcano. The idea here is that the grassy earth walls are the volcano, the seating bowl is the crater, and the roof canopy is a cloud. Maybe a stretch, but it's certainly an interesting looking stadium. To the northeast in Monterrey, Estadio BBVA stands out for its unique steel design. This stadium opened in 2015 and is known for steep seating and minimal distance between the field and seats. And beyond watching the match, the mountain backdrop of Cerro de la Silla is pretty damn impressive too. Before we get to the remaining 6 stadiums, including the final one, we have to talk about one more thing: accessibility. In other words, who can attend one of these World Cup matches? The 2026 World Cup is shaping up to be the most expensive in history. FIFA adopted a dynamic pricing strategy and it's sending prices sky high. It's a shock compared to Qatar's 2022 World Cup, where a ticket to the final could be had for $600. This time around, fans need to spend at least $4,000, so more than 6 times more than before. Football is a sport built on accessibility. But these new price tags suggest that the pinnacle of the sport does not reflect that. Of course, it is about more than ticket prices. For an international event like this, it's also about national borders. If you can afford to get a ticket, will you be able to show up to use it? To reduce visa appointment wait times, they introduced a FIFA pass. But a ticket alone does not guarantee entry to the United States. So this raises a question. Will fans from all participating countries even be allowed entry? Finally, let's look at the stadiums in the eastern region. Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta opened in 2017 and revolutionized stadium design in the process. This $1.6 billion stadium was the first ever built with a retractable roof that opens in a circle, like a camera aperture. The circle motif continues here, with a 360-degree LED video screen, known as a halo board. For the World Cup, upgrades at Mercedes-Benz Stadium include creating more premium seats. Down in Miami, Hard Rock Stadium was built back in 1987 for just $115 million, so it would certainly need a few updates before hosting the World Cup. Luckily, in the 2010s it went through a $500 million renovation that got it much of the way there. Up north in Massachusetts, let's look at Gillette Stadium. It completed a $250 million renovation in 2023, including World Cup mandates from FIFA as well as overall improvements. The pitch was already wide enough, but the stadium had to pull out corner seats for other reasons, making space for security, media and other personnel. Further changes included installing the stadium's 22-story lighthouse with an observation deck and a curved video board spanning more than 2,000 square meters. Further north, in Toronto, the June 12, 2026 game at BMO Field will be the first men's World Cup match ever held on Canadian soil. And the country is going all out to make it possible. It's giving the field a $146 million renovation to prepare for the Cup. This will temporarily increase capacity from 28,180 seats all the way to 45,000. Basically, massive steel grandstands will be put in place at the open north and south ends of the stadium, allowing for the massive seating upgrade. But just for the 6 matches it hosts, then it all comes down. Back in the US, this is Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Built in 2003, it features an asymmetrical seating design, as well as steep upper levels. It's all designed to maximize the clean sidelines for fans. And 3 open corners give some of those fans views of downtown Philly during the game. Alright, we've seen a lot of stadiums now, but there's one left, just outside of New York City. On July 19th, 2026, the MetLife Stadium will host the World Cup final. This $1.6 billion structure is the NFL's biggest stadium, and it houses 2 teams, the New York Giants and the New York Jets. It does this by using a chameleon exterior, thousands of aluminum louvers that can be lit blue for New York Giants games and green for New York Jets games. MetLife faces the same pitch challenges as other NFL stadiums, so around 1,700 seats are being pulled out to accommodate the wider pitch. The stadium is based in New Jersey, but it has direct rail access to New York City. So that's the lineup of stadiums we'll be seeing this summer. Is anyone here going to attempt a game? If so, which one? Let me know down below. And if you want to try Storyblocks, head to storyblocks.com/megabuilds. They are offering a limited time deal, only available through our link. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.